95.1, baby. New York Hip Hop and R&B. Envy and Gia are my guests today.
Woo!
Finally, Envy and Gia have been traveling the world.
Yes.
Interviewing with everybody that has a microphone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Promoting this book.
Yes.
By the way, your book publisher owes you some type of award, a plaque or something. You're really working.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I went to school for marketing, so this is my thing. So
You're into this.
So it's like, yeah, we set it up and we planned and everything's coming together.
So are you leading the charge on this, or is it like the publisher
No,
or
it's actually
publicist?
it's actually us. We're leading the charge, and then the publisher is kind of just following what we're doing and coming along with us, which is great.
Yeah.
They haven't said no to anything. So it's even the Walkman idea. You know, we sent you the box with the Walkman and all that.
Super
with the
fly
mixtape
and
I made.
expensive.
Yes, yeah.
The mixtape.
Yeah, we did that all
The
ourselves.
Lovers mixtape.
We just had a vision and we just went with it.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
You look fly in every press run.
Thank you.
Always well put together. Always the whole family. I think to myself, how does Gia have time to dress the whole family?
A lot of planning.
I don't have time to find an outfit for the thing I got to do on Saturday.
A lot of planning.
And the crazy part is, she doesn't have a makeup artist, so she does all her makeup herself. She doesn't have a stylist, so she has to get all the things herself. So the only problem we have is she has to get early. She has to get ready dumb early.
Yeah.
I have to lie to her. Like, if we had to be here today at 3, I got to tell her 2. Like, it is what it is.
Are you finding that this process is making you guys even, because I imagine doing the book, you learn things about each other and about your relationship, and maybe you saw something that I didn't know you thought about that. But even in talking about your relationship so much on this press tour, is there anything that has surprised you, or that you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know she felt that way. I didn't know she.
Nah, this
Really?
for myself, nada. Like, we were talking the other day about, we've been together 27 years. Like, what bothers you about me now? Like, are you tired of me? And she was like, no. And I was like, the only thing I have a problem with when it comes to you is what?
Lateness. You're just going to keep beating
It's
this
lateness.
horse.
It's just lateness.
You just keep beating this horse. Right? The horse is dead.
I be having anxiety waiting on her. I be having anxiety. I'm like, it's a live show. We got to go. She's like, no, traffic ain't that bad. I'm like, no, it's raining. It's rush hour. She's like, we'll make it.
We'll be all right.
So this is the biggest problem in your relationship.
Yes, it is.
now.
It actually is. That's the biggest problem in our relationship.
What about
now?
him? Now, right?
Thankfully,
All
that's
right,
the
well,
biggest
you made
problem.
it to the other side.
You're
Yeah,
right.
it's publicly known you've been through some things together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you share it all in this book. So now, what is the purpose of this? Is this because you want to? I mean, you could just do a book, but you really put effort and time, and clearly you're trying to share your experiences to help people, I imagine.
Yes. It's in the sense of community and sharing, because we've been through so much. 27 years gives you a lot of things to talk about. And I find that most people, they get to see what you want them to see. They present themselves to you, and that's what you take in. But most of the time, that's not really accurate. Usually people don't let you see their flaws. They don't let you see their failures and the things in life that disappoint them, because everybody's so preoccupied with image. And I think that can be seen as unfair, especially when you have young people that are looking at you
Aspiring
to a certain lifestyle, or thinking about what life should look like. Because in all honesty, if we're being honest, we
Please.
usually compare ourselves to others. That's kind of how you size yourself up. You have to have a reference point for what's normal, and then you measure yourself against that normal. But if the normal seems so high and unattainable, then people are kind of left to feel like failures. So for us, it was very important to put the complete unadulterated truth out there, where you get to see that things may look amazing, but there are dimples in that. There are failures in that. There are
disappointments,
letdowns and disappointments, bad decisions. And I think that through doing that, you're able to let people see the complete truth. And then they can measure their lives against something that's real and actual. So really, we wrote the book to be a reference point for people to be able to relate to.
Do you ever realize that you and Envy say because the same way?
I've heard that, but I've never.
What is that? Is that Queens?
No, it's the way that it's written. It's because. The word cause.
I don't know.
But do you know that you both say it?
I never realized
People,
that.
I think that most of the world pronounces it wrong. They say because.
Because, yeah.
It's the stuff, it's cause, because.
Yeah.
The cause of.
I'm
so
not
it is,
saying
it's
you're
because.
wrong.
I don't know.
I say it the way that it's written.
You both do it, though.
I don't know.
I never noticed it. Can you say it?
Because.
Okay, yeah, I guess we do.
The two of you say it the same way.
I never noticed
Yes.
that.
Because you do.
Because. I never noticed
So
that.
good. So what in the book do you feel like, because people resonate too, so I've heard many stories. I've heard of the faking the orgasms for many years. Is that stopped? That stopped, right?
That is stopped.
Okay.
Except that stopped.
That stopped. Yes, it stopped.
For the
Damn it.
record,
Listen, I'm just saying.
for the record, it probably stopped 17 or 18 years ago.
Oh, okay.
You have to think. We're not talking about life in real time.
be honest.
We're
though.
talking
Sometimes you're
about.
gonna be tired and you just like. Sometimes
No,
you be
not
tired.
anymore. No, not anymore.
No, you
not
won't-
anymore.
you won't do it.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
I was a long-suffering partner for 10 years.
Whereas,
I'm kidding.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
kidding.
bro.
I'm kidding. But you have to think, I lost my virginity to him when I was 16
Yeah.
on our 1-year anniversary. So we spent 10 years trying to figure each other out. But I wasn't coming from a perspective where I could teach him because I didn't really know myself. Now, it's not as though I didn't have any orgasms. I had orgasms, just not through intercourse.
Got
but,
it.
he
Yes.
found
That's
other
pretty
ways.
from what I
my mouth
understand.
game was good. That's what she's
That
saying.
oh my God. That is actually not an uncommon thing for women.
It's not, but
Yeah.
it's something that people shy away from talking about,
Yeah.
sometimes even with their closest friends.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to share it in the book, uncomfortable truths that will force conversations.
Yeah.
We've gotten so many emails and DMs about people that are going through the same thing. Like I've been with my man for 7 years and I've never had an orgasm. What do I do? How do I tell him?
Absolutely.
He's been getting the same DMs and emails, and it's kind of interesting. But that's
People that work at
really
the station too. They're wives.
Really?
And, yeah,
Stop
absolutely.
that.
No, I'm just
People
messing with
watch
you. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing
Yes.
with you. I'm just messing with
Oh,
you.
he's about to have a whole team.
turn these cameras off.
What office? Point to the office.
No. But people been, they hit me in the DMs and their wives have been like, I'm glad you spoke about it because now I can have this conversation with my husband.
Right.
Have a conversation with my man.
That's so
Or
nice.
even dudes hit me and was like, yo, how do you know that my wife is having an orgasm, not faking it? I thought she was faking it, but how do I know? So
Yeah.
what we wanted to do is open up these conversations and not make it feel funny. Like if I came to you, right, Ange, or M-Easy, and I said, look, I haven't made my wife orgasm. You see how you starting to laugh?
You see?
Exactly.
You see?
Exactly. And that's the problem.
Yes.
You need to be able to
Well,
have
because it's you too.
See?
I would laugh first and then I'd say,
See?
Envy, what have you tried?
See, exactly. But these are the conversations
Yeah.
we need to have where we can talk about relationships.
You're
Me
right.
and you, we could talk about our kids. We could talk about some music. We could talk about so many different things. But the things that I think that we need to talk about that can help us in the community, we don't.
But in your life, how many of your girlfriends have you sat around kicking it with and they might have shared with you that they've faked it or that, see?
Oh, I think it's pretty common.
It's very common.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
right?
common.
It's just,
but it's not. It's definitely taboo.
it's
to talk
definitely
about.
taboo to talk about. We wanted to break that.
I will say another thing. This is an interesting thing because I have a couple friends who, like you, found your first love and that was it for
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had this conversation with a few girlfriends of mine. You'll only be with one man your whole life.
Yeah.
Does this this is a question for Gia. You have nothing to do with this. You're not even here right now.
Okay, all right.
Do you ever say to yourself, is this going to be like, is that ever not okay with you at any point in your life? Do you think?
At any point in my life. So I remember being in college and wondering or being curious, but never enough to drive me to the point of satisfying that curiosity.
Got it.
Once I got married, it wasn't even, the curiosity died then because I made a conscious decision that this is the person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life because I want to be with him. Marriage is a choice. A lot of people treat it as though once the honeymoon phase is over, as though you have shackles on or you have a vice around you and you're trapped there
Right.
and, there's no way out. But marriage is a choice. And, as human beings, we typically make choices that are to our own benefit, things that we benefit from that enhance our lives, that make our lives better. So I would have never chosen something if I thought that,
You would want something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something about it wasn't going to measure up for me. So no, not once I got married. But when I was younger, yes, I definitely did have
Had those
curiosities.
curiosities and
Absolutely.
thoughts. Did you ever worry that she was going to, that was going to be a problem for her, especially
Yes, absolutely.
because you've been with other women before her, probably,
Yes,
right?
actually, no, I wasn't with other women before her, but I always felt I wasn't good enough for Gia. I always felt I wasn't smart enough. I always felt I wasn't mature enough. I always felt I wasn't handsome enough. I always felt like she can find somebody better than me.
The men in their ego.
So I was very controlling.
I get that.
And we talk about it in the book. Like, I never wanted her to go anywhere. Like, we tell a story in the book where we were in college, and she kind of looked like how my daughter looked now, like showing
Gorgeous.
belly and long legs and beautiful. And she wanted to go out one night, and I'm like, nah, you showing too much skin. Like, change. And she was like, no, this is what I'm wearing. I'm like, no, change. She was like, no, this is what I'm wearing. And I remember turning the shower on. I'm like, all right, when she walks by, I'm gonna grab her and I'm just gonna put her in the shower. And I grabbed her, and we both went in the shower, and the water messed up her hair, her makeup, her outfit.
Dripping down my face.
But that's how controlling I was. And we can talk about it now, and the reason we do talk about it is because there's a lot of guys out there that feel that way, that feel like they're not good enough. And it put me to that point where I was like, where I'm almost like watching her 24 hours a day to see if she's doing anything, and it was just all ego.
Yeah. And then you're looking for attention or whatever from outside. Because
And the fact, I tell everybody all the time, when I was a kid, I was 5'4". I had glasses, I had braces, I had heavy acne. I wasn't popping. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends. I really didn't know how to talk to girls. Like, that was, I couldn't kick it to a girl. They used to call me Turtle because I wouldn't be able to like, first base. I didn't even know what first base was. So when I had girlfriends back in the day,
we were essentially like each other's first.
Yeah, when I had girlfriends back in the day, the girls would call me Turtle because I wouldn't put any moves on them because I really didn't know and I was scared. So when I met Gia, what made our relationship so good, and it's funny I'm talking about it now, what made it so good is we were both turtles. There was no stress for sex. Like, where most people would have tried to have sex early on, we didn't. We were just more concerned with being friends. And that's what I think made our relationship strong early on.
Yeah, we just had a lot of fun. We would spend days like making out in his basement where he would practice his blends, and then there was, little gray leather couch. We would make out for
really
like
cute.
3 hours. Like, that's kind of what we did. Yeah. And I remember the first time he went up my shirt, and the first time, like, we had all of those. Yeah, because those were like those young moments that we had.
How do your kids feel about you guys talking about all this type of stuff? Does it freak them out or?
Madison, no.
Okay.
Logan was a little bit more curious about our decision to share because he's a young guy. He's 18 years old. You know what I mean? But once we explained to him why, that it was really an effort to help people and to shatter the norm. He began to understand.
There's no way the 18-year-old boy wants to know that his dad was up his mom's shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but you know what? I'll be honest. He cares.
They want to believe it doesn't. Like, it just doesn't happen.
But he's
they know it happens. They're around. Like, our house is very, very open. Like, the lines of communication are just, they're explicit. They're out there for all of our kids to see.
Give me an example.
I mean, this might be too much, but.
At this point?
At the book?
I sleep naked.
Okay.
I can't sleep with an article of clothing on, So my kids, they know this. And my littles, everybody knows this. So when they come in my room, they knock, and I have to allow them in because I could be walking around undressed, and then I have to cover myself up and whatnot. And they come in, and they could be sitting on the edge of the bed talking, but they know mommy's not dressed underneath. They'll never see anything, but we're just a very open household. And my daughter is 20. So there's a lot of things that I need to teach her because I've experienced so much. And I don't want her to have heartaches, and I want her to see the world for what it really is. So we take a lot of the bad decisions that we've made, and we teach her from those bad decisions, so she gains from it. So a lot of the stories in the book, Madison's already known since she was like maybe 16 or 17 years old, because you want to teach her what jealousy looks like, what a controlling boyfriend looks like, what a possessive or an obsessive boy looks like, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So they've been taught probably from about maybe 9-10 years old about different things. I had my first conversation with them about sex when Madison, I think, was 10 and Logan was about 8, because he came home telling me some off-the-wall story about a friend of his whose sister had sex, and he had this whole concocted idea. And I said, oh my gosh, I need to sit them down and explain to them what sex is. And we did that, and they asked a dozen questions.
What did you say? What did you say?
We talked about.
Did you
I
use
told
like
them,
fake words, or did you use
No,
like
no.
penis, vagina?
Penis, vagina.
I walked out during this conversation, by the way.
Now you want to know
Yeah,
that.
he wanted no parts
That
of
was
it. And they were
uncomfortable.
glad that you walked out because they felt more comfortable to ask questions because they know mommy's an open book. And not only that, mommy's going to tell the truth.
And my son, Logan, he was 8 at the time. He was at his friend's house and found a bloody tampon.
Oh, why?
Yeah,
what
right?
friend
That's
is
what
this?
it was.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And they said that the bloody tampon came out the girl's butt, right?
Yeah, all types of
It was
weird
something
stuff.
wild.
Yes, it was,
Yeah,
it was
I-
a lot.
It was something
and I'm
wild.
like, okay, no, now we
Whose
really just
house
need.
was this?
I don't.
And never let him go there again.
I don't want them going out in the world and spewing this information. But,
Yeah,
we
it
told
was
them that
wild.
sex is meant for two people that are in love because when they're in love, then it will rise to the occasion of being everything that it's supposed to be, And Logan, I remember him asking me, like, what does that look like? I said, what do you mean? What does it look like? Does it go? Do you remember you might have came in the room. He was laying on the bed and he was like, is it like, I'm like, oh my gosh, my 8-year-old is thrusting his pelvis into the mattress. I said, actually, yes, it does look something like that, son. But yes, so truth and honesty is very important in our household.
That is very impressive. At that age, too.
Oh,
At
yeah.
8, so you started young, super
Yes.
early,
Yes.
explaining everything.
Yes.
Now, mind you, I still
Alright.
haven't had this conversation with my dad yet about the birds and the bees. Like, my
Yes.
parents still hasn't told me about the birds
But
and
when
the
that
bees.
Have they
happens-
read the book?
My
Your mother
mom read the
did.
book. I don't know if my dad did. I don't talk to them about that. That's like, it's kind of still kind of weird. So I don't even talk to them about the book.
They
yet.
skipped the faking it chapter.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, it's called faking it in a real relationship.
So
and
you just don't even. So you have this relationship with your kids, but with your parents,
No way.
no way.
I think with my kids, I think I'm a lot closer to my kids. Like me and my daughter, we hang out, we go out. Me and my son, we go out, we hang out. We're very close. We have similar music, similar tastes.
And they're dating now too, right?
They are
Oh, yeah.
dating now, but that's a good thing. Like my daughter, she went on a date. She was on a boat. Her date was on a boat. And the guy grabbed her phone, went through her DMs. My daughter was like, I had nothing to hide, whatever. So my daughter was like, all right, let me see your phone. He ran upstairs. Came back 10 minutes and then gave her the phone. So I had to tell her, like, you know what that means, right? And she was like, no.
Delete
I'm
it.
like, he had to erase all the messages he didn't want you to see. And I'm real with him. I'm like, he would have rather threw that phone in the ocean than give you the phone. But it's daddy telling her so she understands. And that's what I'm able to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dad's there to tell her that. I'm telling her if you go out and you get a drink, you cover your drink if you're not drinking. You don't get a drink for somebody. When you go to the clubs, you look for the exit. You look for the back door. Like there's certain things I teach you to do because I've been there,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like raising up a child, She lives in New York City because she's a sophomore at NYU. And she's outside the studio right now just because we bring her along with us anywhere we can because, we just want her to have experiences, collect experiences so that you have a wide variety of things so that you can kind of design your own life based off of, But,
I love that.
she'll come home and we'll, hang out and talk for 3-4 hours. She FaceTimes me like 7 times a day, literally.
I know. I love how close you guys are with your kids.
Thank
It's so
you.
sweet.
babies.
Thank you. Even Logan, he comes home from school every day.
We
He
love
lays at
Logan.
lays at the foot of my bed and we'll talk for an hour and he'll just talk to me about things and ask me advice about things. And one thing that my kids know is that mommy's always going to tell them the truth. Whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
you're going to get the truth.
Got that. That's so sweet. There is a section in the book, 25 questions to ask yourself before you get married. I think this is important.
Yes.
Because I think people think of, the wedding,
Right.
but
Absolutely.
not the marriage.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Or they're in love and they have they've been together a year or 2 years and it's
Yes.
like the honeymoon phase. And so you're like, we're going to
Absolutely.
get married and be happily ever after. But there's some real things you should ask yourself before you make that commitment. So, you want to share what some of these are? Things, 25 questions to ask yourself before you get married.
Mine is always the definition of love, right? And it's easy, but like I know the definition of love. I had a boyfriend, I could say I love my man, and ladies probably say I love my girl or whatever it may be. But do you truly know the definition of love, right?
And do you have the same one?
And do you have the same definition, right? So
or
if you,
similar.
Or similar.
Or similar.
If you truly love somebody, do you want to be dishonest? Do you not want to be truthful? Do you want to be in a place where they're not your real left arm or your real right arm? And I wasn't there early on. But now it's to a point where it's like, I tell everybody all the time, my phone is Gia's phone. I might be on a plane. I'm like, Gia, I forgot to post this. Can you post this flyer for me? Sure, babe. Post a flyer, no problem. It's like we have that type of relationship where I know what it is. I still get butterflies. I didn't know that definition, nor did I care about the definition. I just said it because it was the cool thing to do. I love you, but I didn't know the definition of love. And you have to know what that definition means.
Love that.
For me, it's, do you really have a true and accurate idea of what a lifetime means? You know, you get married saying, okay, I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. But have you really stopped to think about what the rest of your life looks like? You know, people, you know, you can be with someone and they may go through changes spiritually, emotionally, physically. They might have a dream that hasn't been realized and they're broken and bitter and resentful as a result of it. Are you going to be there to nurture them, to support them, to love them through it, to help try to get them back on their feet? Are you built for a lifetime? Because you see people together for 10, 15, 17, 20 years, and then they reach their breaking point because too many things have surmounted. And it's like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. Maybe it's because when you got married, you didn't really think about that and you weren't prepared for it. You weren't prepared to execute it. So I think that that's something that people kind of have to really lean into, because marriage, a lot of times, it's about the spectacle. And, you know, the bridesmaids, the flowers, the videographer, the photographer, the beautiful day, the memories, the pictures, just everything that you think of when you imagine that day will end. And then problems will arise. It is inevitable. Mm-hmm. I've never witnessed a relationship that didn't have significant problems at several points throughout its duration. Are you prepared to weather those storms?
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. I'm trying to see which ones I like the best of your 25 list here. Some good ones. Do I know what love is? Can I honestly say, I know I want to be married? Will I want it for a lifetime? Mm-hmm. Excellent question. Do I understand the potential for disappointment in my marriage?
Yep.
Sheesh.
Mm-hmm.
These are not fun questions, though, when you're like giddy and like in love and you're ready to walk down the aisle. Have I discussed my dreams with my partner, and are they supportive?
Yes.
Am I on the same page about children with my partner?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. People don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
You guys are on the same page, right? You guys wanted all these children.
Nah, well,
because you have a lot of children.
Two. You know, first we only wanted two.
And if Logan was a girl, we were going to have one more.
Yeah.
But 3 was kind of our max for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys ask each other these, or you figured these out after?
We figured
these things out.
Got it.
And that's, again, why we wanted to write the book, because we had to figure out a lot of things through trial and error, and we suffered because of it. You know, so if this encourages someone to read it and say, you know what, let me answer these questions. And if you get through a bunch of them and the answers are not good, it might trigger you to say, you know what, maybe this isn't the right decision for me. Maybe this isn't the right person for me. Yeah. He might be tall, gorgeous, have a 6-pack and pretty funny, but what about the meat and potatoes? What about all the important things? What about the things about his personality that's going to sustain us through a lifetime? Yeah. It might give people a moment of pause.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
So people have heard your story, know your story. You've been very open and honest. But now it seems like you're in such a great place that people can mistake that as there are no longer any problems.
Oh, no.
You have gotten to the other side of all the problems.
Yes.
And life is just a joy every day. Is that true or not true? And what are your challenges now?
I'm going to be honest with you. There are still problems, but in the grand scheme of things, they're minute. Because in our relationship, I genuinely feel as though we've cracked the code. And that's why we got to a point where we could write a book. Because if you're not living in that truth, it's misleading to write a book about it. Do we argue? Yes. About things, I'll give you some of my gripes. Sometimes I feel as though he yeses me. You know, we'll be having a conversation and he'll only be halfway paying attention. Yeah. And I give him certain you're going to blush now?
I'm not disagreeing.
I give him certain passes because I know that he's overworked. He's overworked. I've never met someone as ambitious or that has worked as hard throughout their life as him, that pretty much only goes off of 3 hours of sleep a night, if that, sometimes an hour. So I give him a pass, but it took me years to get to a point where I could understand what he might be going through, because sometimes when he's short or he's not as invested in a conversation or doesn't go as deep as I'd like for him to go, I might get a little put off. But
snippy.
Yeah, and sometimes when he's tired, he can be a little, like you said, snippy and whatnot. But I'm kind of like a no nonsense person for the most part. So when it happens, it's immediately a conversation. It's immediately, you just spoke to me crazy,
and
right?
She's detailed with conversation. Like it ain't no quick, my bad, keep it moving. No, it's 2-3 hours, babe. I got to go to work in a couple hours.
Yes, so
I said I'm sorry. Are we done yet? No, we're not done. Why would you?
Are you actually sorry? Because now you're being short.
Why do you want to finish the
Now
conversation?
you're being
so
short.
fast?
Now you're trying to wrap me up. Don't wrap me up. You know.
What, you think it's the Breakfast Club? No, this is not a wrap. No, we're not doing a commercial. We're gonna sit here and talk. Like,
you're gonna be late. You're just gonna be late. Accept it. You're gonna be late.
Oh my gosh.
So that's an example of a problem. It's more so like little communication things, but at the end, he'll say, you know what, I am tired, or I do have somewhere I have to be. I'm thinking about making money, because that's what he claims. He's always thinking about, making money.
This is not a cheap jacket, I'm sure.
And we got 6 kids, right? You know,
and you got 6 kids.
Yeah, but
we've
something.
seen your Christmas gifts.
Oh,
Skia.
okay.
There you go. Thanks.
You know what I mean? I got you on that one. We've seen the gifts.
Yes. But you know, for me is I always have a business, and there's so many things I want to do, and for myself, I never hear no. Like when I wanted to do the car show, I came to iHeart. I want to do a car show. iHeart said car shows don't work. All right, I'll do it on my own. It started working. You know, same thing with the book. We don't know about you guys writing the book. All right, we'll do it on our own, and we'll put it out the way we want to put it out. Whether it was the podcast or a TV show we're working on, or whatever it may be, real estate seminars, whatever we do. We have so many businesses in the work. It's like it pushes me to work harder. So sometimes when I come home, I'm tired. And, sometimes Gia wants to just talk about hey, how was your day? And I do get a little chippy sometimes, and we get into it about that. But it's, I'm just I tell everybody, I'm trying to make sure my kids are happy. And what I mean by kids are happy, money doesn't make my kids happy, but I want them to do what they want to do in life. If my daughter wants to do, I don't care, nails, or she wants to work sanitation, I just want her to be happy. But I want to set them up so they can make whatever they want, but they good for the rest of their life. And that's what I'm trying to do.
You want to do nails? No, you're going to own a nail salon.
Correct.
You want to do sanitation? You're going to have 10 sanitation trucks.
Yeah.
We want you to follow your dream, but we're going to teach you how to maximize on your dreams.
So I want to make sure all 6 kids are good and my family's good. So those are the things. I'm from Queens. I'm the first person in my family to go to college, first person to graduate from college, first person to invest in anything, because my family didn't know. There was no way of knowing.
They must be so proud of you.
Error. Yeah, they are extremely proud. So the fact that I can push my kids to the limit, my daughter goes to school for real estate, and Logan's doing well in football, and he's getting all these offers. So I just want them to be great, but I just want them to be happy.
But that's one of the things that I've always loved about Rashawn. Ever since we were kids, if he wanted something, I knew without doubt that he was going to make it happen. I don't know if I've ever seen him fail at anything. And to be with someone that can move mountains, it always inspired me. And it gave me a sense of like faith and security that I'm with someone who's solid. And it's not through providing, it's knowing that he has enough confidence in himself to chase his dreams, and he's not going to stop until they're realized. And that's just one of the things I've always admired about him.
Y'all are really cute.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you guys are kind of cute.
Thank you.
When do we find out if this is a New York Times bestseller? Because I feel like it's going to be.
Hopefully soon.
And by the way, it should be, because you worked so hard on it.
Yeah, but even if it's not, I know we made the national bestseller list right now, which we're super duper happy for. But we didn't do it for that. Like it's my pleasure, and what makes me happy is the tons of DMs and emails and phone calls
and people coming up to us.
People coming up to us and saying that we're helping. It's kind of like, when I always say when Charlemagne did his book on mental health, he didn't know what he was doing with that. He just did it because it was in his heart, but he opened up so many conversations.
But the effect it had.
And that's what we want. We want to open up conversations about relationships, and people have these talks. We talk about suicide in the book, and people will be able to talk about suicide. When I was a kid, suicide was, in my opinion, growing up, it was like, oh, that was only for the soft, or that was for the weak, or that was for the selfish or suckers, until I put myself in that predicament and I wanted to commit suicide. I'm like, had nothing to do with that. So the fact that I can talk about it and tell people why I was in that position and how I got out of it, it hopefully will help people out there. And that's the reason we do it. And yeah, it's transparent, and I know I get jokes all the time, and this
You're
website.
used to that, though.
But I'm used to it, man. I'm used to the jokes. I'm used to being canceled. But I love the fact when people are really learning from it. You know what I mean? And that's the main thing.
Yeah. Do you ever want to, when he's on the Breakfast Club and there's a cancel moment, or there's something that comes out of his mouth that maybe you disagree with?
She tells me excuse my French. So she tells me shut the fuck up sometimes. Like, sometimes you don't have to say nothing. Like, don't have to give your opinion. If you know your opinion is not going to be well received, you can shut the fuck up. I'm like, it's just how I feel.
Every now and then, it's all right.
Yeah.
But it's actually not for his job. He really is like paid to not shut the fuck up sometimes.
Yeah.
Also,
sometimes I don't think that it pays, because sometimes I don't think that people will always understand. You know, a lot of times people have their minds made up about, let's say, a popular social topic, and you would need a lot more than the time that you have for that break to talk about it, to really explain to people what's going on inside your mind. And it's quick, and then you're sharing it with, 2 other people. So sometimes it's difficult to get your rocks off. And if you know that you're in that type of situation, sometimes I think it's better to just lean back and observe. Do you know what I mean? Because if you say something that isn't well received because it's misunderstood, it's not conducive, and it's not going to produce a good result. You know,
we have those arguments all the
bars
time.
from your wife.
Yeah, I'll be listening. I'll be like,
from your wife. We have a little husband-wife game. You want to play that?
oh
Sure.
yes,
Yay! I gotta find it.
I love games.
While you're doing that, I'll tell you the only thing that Logan has a problem with is when me and Charlamagne go back and forth sometimes when we play our funny men games.
Men games, call it what it is.
Yeah.
Call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
When we play our men games.
Our funny men games.
Funny men games. So, my son hates that. When Charlamagne gave me the fake ass, oh my goodness. My son didn't love that at all.
Logan's like, really, Dad?
Really, Dad? I gotta go to school tomorrow, Dad.
You know I go to an all-boys school, right?
Yeah.
You ever think about how this is going to affect me?
Go on, Logan. You gotta have thick skin. You gotta have thick skin.
He's
by
my
now.
little honey, though.
He'd be good.
Okay, this is this or that. You want to play this or that?
All right, cool.
Okay.
Let's do
So
it.
you know how this goes.
I don't.
Yes, you do. You
Oh,
point
just
to
the.
yourself.
Okay.
You've done this.
Yes.
Have you
I
done
didn't.
this?
I didn't know it was called this or that.
It's called this or that.
So,
well, I
yes.
don't know if it's called this or that. This is what it's called.
Okay.
This might be the bootleg version. I don't
Okay.
know. Who said "I love you" first? Oh, of course you did.
Of course I did. I'm emotional.
Who's the better cook? I knew that already. Who spends more money?
The cars.
The cars.
It's the fucking
The cars.
The cars.
Who yells more? Who takes longer to get dressed?
What kind of question was that?
You knew that one.
What kind of question was
I
that?
feel like I could answer all these questions. You just have to follow them on Instagram. The answers are all there. Who falls asleep first?
That was the quickest point.
Because he's exhausted all
What
the
Exactly.
all the time?
Who's the better driver? Who really?
Yes, I am a kick-ass driver.
You're not so much.
You know what? I'm always on my phone. Can I tell them a story?
Okay,
story?
I'm gonna tell
quick.
them a story about you.
No.
Yes, let me tell you.
Yeah,
No,
tell me.
I'm
Yes.
transparent, but I'm
Yes.
gonna knock you out.
Ask-
I'm gonna fight
Ask
you.
again
Hold
when
on,
she got
excuse
her
me. I'm gonna fight
license.
you.
Ask again when she got her license.
When did you get your license?
3 days ago.
No way.
Yes, 3 days ago. 3 days ago.
Your first time ever?
No.
3 days
There's
ago.
a story to that. There's a
Her
story
license
to
was
that.
expired for
See,
8 years. She
look
didn't have
at
a
you with
license for 8
It's the
years.
sensational headline syndrome.
were you
You just throw the most sensational thing out there just to get people to listen.
8 years.
That's an exaggeration too. It might have been 6. So I had my license from I was, I guess, 16 or 17, right? New York State driver's
But it
license.
expired.
But it expired. I went to the DMV to take the test.
Ask her how many times she failed the written
Be
test.
quiet. So I was there with Wax, Charlamagne security guard,
Yeah.
and co-host of Bully and the Beast. I was there with him, and we sat there for like 6 hours. And then when I got to the line, they took me. They told me I had to take a test. I'm like, a test? Like, I've had my license for like almost 2 decades. Like, what are we talking about? You need to take a test because it expired. You have to get your permit. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, of course I'll take the test. I sat down. Let me tell you. I said, what in the driving test BS shenanigans
Failed.
is going on? No, I didn't just fail. I failed miserably.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never learned this stuff. And I drive the hell out of a car. Like, what are we talking about? So then the 6 hours there, I was traumatized. I never wanted to go back. So I was riding dirty for several years.
Hold on, Ange.
So, no, I'm going to tell it because you lie
then
and
she
exaggerate.
Goes, you know what? I got to take the test again. So instead of studying, she went to YouTube and just took the
I
practice
took like
test.
the YouTube test, right?
she took-
I'm like, I'm acing every one of these. 50 questions. I'm getting nothing wrong. One wrong. Nothing wrong. One wrong.
She
I'm
goes
like,
again.
I go in. I'm like, this isn't the test that was on YouTube.
Failed again.
You failed twice.
Failed twice. Hold on.
Well, the first time was impromptu. The second time was
twice.
bad preparation.
So right behind her, and I'm not saying nothing nasty, but it was the truth. Right behind her was a meth addict, right? Meth, she goes on meth. No teeth, nothing. She came out cheering because she passed the test.
I never felt worse about myself in my life.
Right? Meth had studied and passed. Right? Then she goes back the third time.
Yes. Well, the third time I said, you know what? All right, obviously I have to read this stupid driver's manual because it's the type of questions that you can't fake knowing.
Ask Angie a question.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me think.
Okay.
How many feet behind a ambulance, police car, a vehicle like that do you have to park? How many feet?
Park?
Yes. If let's say a police car is parked, how many feet behind it?
My instinct was.
Well, let me give you options.
Okay.
50
choice.
feet, 100 feet, 150 feet, 200 feet.
Behind a emergency vehicle?
Yeah. So let's say a fire truck is parked on.
I'm going to say 200 feet.
It was 200 feet.
Okay, I passed.
It was 200 feet.
Wow, I didn't know that.
How many feet? How many feet do you have to park away from a crosswalk? 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet, 25 feet.
I'm going to say 25 feet.
It was 25 feet.
Yeah.
Yo.
It was 25 feet. Yes.
I have a valid driver's license. I have one.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you one more.
Go on.
At 50 miles per hour, how many car lengths behind the car in front of you are you required to drive?
Multiple choice.
Okay. 3 car lengths, 4 car lengths, 5 car lengths, or 6 car lengths?
6.
5.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
she got one wrong.
So
I got one wrong.
yes, so it would be 1 car length per every 10 miles per hour, for instance.
So every time we drive now, she gives me multiple choice. How many feet are you supposed to be behind this car?
Yes, because I read half of the book. The second half was on motorcycles. I'm like, I'm not reading that section.
You could be like an advocate for the DMV.
Yes,
You are
now
so
I can.
educated.
I was riding dirty for at least 6
You
years.
are so educated.
So she finally passes, right? Then
Not only did I pass, I got them all right except one motorcycle question.
So then they said, okay, you could take the driving test now, right?
Oh, no.
So now she goes into driving test, right?
Oh,
now, mind you,
no. Oh, no.
I just bought a Tesla electric car, so it's like a space shuttle. So now she's driving.
But I wasn't prepared to take the driver's test that day. They did me a solid, okay? I've never driven this spaceship before.
It's not a full steering wheel; it's like a half steering
I
wheel.
felt like I'm in
Tesla,
like an
Tesla.
arcade.
So they be like, make a left. When they make a left, the horn's going off. Beep, beep, beep. The trunk is opening and the doors are coming
I
open.
put the car into drive. It goes into reverse. The car was like a freaking transformer. Like it was just absolutely ridiculous.
Failed.
No, I passed because
almost
I
did
can
fail. She almost did
I
fail.
can drive the bleep out of a car. But yeah, so I walked away with my driver's license. So now I can talk about it because I have a real one now.
Yes, she does.
So who is the best driver?
She still is. Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Okay. Oh my God. Who apologizes first? That's a nice quality, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always doing some F shit. I'm always wrong. That's right.
Yes, he's always wrong.
I
Always
know,
wrong.
but okay, fair
Yes,
enough.
and we believe in accountability.
That's right.
But that's a great thing.
Yeah,
Okay. That means you don't apologize much?
I don't need to.
heard you.
I'm a more thoughtful person. I think before I act.
When she does
most
apologize,
of the time.
we have a party at the house.
Yes.
Like, Mom, apologize.
The kids come
Mom,
running in.
apologize.
They got streamers. Yeah.
Pop champagne.
Cake. Yeah. He's not that thoughtful. He's more impulsive. That's the reason why.
Whose idea was it to make the Casey Crew podcast? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like I could answer every single one of these.
But I did that because I thought she was very smart. I thought she had a voice for TV and radio. She studied for communications, and I wanted the world to hear her and hear her views. So I thought it would be a dope way to do it.
Who initiates sex more?
I would say her.
Okay.
Yes, because I always be wanting you.
Stupid. Yo, it's stupid. I would say her though.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
Who takes longer showers?
Me.
Absolutely. She has a chair that she brings in the shower with her, and she sits down to
Yes.
shower like
Yes.
that long.
She's
Yes.
trying to get away from you.
Then she brings a soda in the shower with her because it's so hot, so she got to cool herself down with this. It's wow.
Yes.
Wow.
This is true.
Who's the bigger pushover with the kids?
Oh, her.
Yes.
Absolutely. I say no immediately. No. Why? I don't know. Just no.
Like, yes, you can have it. Yes, you can do it.
Who does the dishes?
Neither of
one
us.
We got a nanny. We got a nanny.
Neither one
And
of
Logan,
you.
when Logan ain't acting right, we make Logan
Yeah,
do the dishes.
Logan does the dishes.
Logan does the dishes.
Good quality parenting. Who changes the diapers?
Me.
More? she does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my little Pepe.
Yeah.
I didn't love that as the last one. That was the last one here. Let's come up with a new last one.
Who's harder to shop for?
No, that's
Oh.
easy. That's not a.
I'm harder to shop
Yeah,
for.
he's much harder to
Yeah, when I see something, I buy it for myself. Most people don't know I buy everything. Like, I shop for gear. Like,
Yeah.
I'm her stylist. Like, if I see something out, I'm like, oh, I think gear look dope in this, and I buy it. Or
Yeah.
bag or shoes. I usually grab her stuff.
But he gets very invested. So he knows all of the sales associates. He knows all the new colors that are coming out, all the new styles that are
We
coming
see your
out.
posts in the holidays. We know what goes
like-
out. It's very impressive, I gotta say.
You know what it is? It's I like things that she's into. So, like, I watch The Bachelor. I watch The Bachelorette. All them funny, cheap shows I watch because she enjoys it. So I watch it. If she's into, let's say, a Birkin bag, I'll know the colors. I'll know when they coming out. I'm on a list. I know
He knows
gold
the hardware.
gold
He
hardware,
knows,
silver hardware,
yeah.
palladium. Like,
special
I know all
orders.
that. Yes,
Like he
yes.
learns. I have to say, he really is invested that way.
my
Like
baby.
he'll learn anything that has to do with me or that
Absolutely.
I'm interested in.
You guys are cute.
Thank you.
That's the
My
moral of
baby.
the story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody, go get the book. Real life, real love.
Yes.
We're gonna make this a bestseller.
Yes. Let's do it.
You have worked hard enough for that, by the
Yes.
way.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so
We
much.
believe that
Congratulations.
it's worthy. That's why it's
Absolutely.
worth the work. You know.
What you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you both.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Thank you. Finally, we made it happen. One time for Envy and Gia, everybody. Spot 105.1.